Thank you for joining me today for a little yoga. My aim is to make this practice available to everybody, so make sure you're checking the screen often for modifications to some of the poses. But if at any time you aren't feeling it or you're experiencing pain, remember to take child's pose or any one of your favorite poses and join the video when you feel ready. Let's get started. Coming to mountain pose at the top of your mat, lift your toes and fan them out for a strong base on which to stand. Lift your knees to engage your quads. Tilt the top of your hips back, engaging your core and squeezing your glutes. Roll your shoulders back, arms at your sides, with palms facing forward. Feeling rooted into the ground, take a deep breath in and exhale, pushing the air out by squeezing your abdomen. Deep breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs and abdomen. Hold for a beat. Exhale, belly button to spine. Feel the air leaving your lungs. Centering on your breath, inhale and reach arms up overhead for upward salute. Option here to move back to mountain pose or exhale and swan dive into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, back nice and straight, resting your hands on your shins. Exhale, back to forward fold. Take a breath here, and on your next exhale, roll up to standing, starting at the base of your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Arms reach overhead, back to upward salute. Option here to move into a back bend. Protect your low back by squeezing your glutes and reach backwards. If you feel any pain, release the back bend. Exhale and swan dive to forward fold with a generous bend in the knees. Remember to move to mountain pose if forward folds aren't available to you. Inhale, halfway lift. Back nice and straight, resting your hands on your shins. Exhale, back to forward fold. Roll up to standing, starting at the base of your spine, one vertebrae at a time, arms reaching up overhead, back to upward salute. Slight back bend, keeping the glutes engaged. Exhale, swan dive, back to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and plant your hands on the mat, stepping back into plank, either on your hands or forearms. Inhale, engage your core and squeeze your thighs together. Shoulders are stacked directly over wrists. Exhale, lowering down into chaturanga, untuck your toes and push through the mat, raising up to upward facing dog or baby cobra, whichever works best for you. Exhale, tuck your toes, send your hips to the ceiling for downward facing dog. Walking your dog here if that feels good for you. Focus in on your breath and feel the stretch. Exhale and look at your hands, stepping your left foot forward to the outside of your left hand. Inhale and touch your left elbow to the mat, then twist your torso to reach your left hand up towards the ceiling for world's greatest stretch. Exhale and tap your left elbow. Inhale, reaching back up to the ceiling. Exhale, twist and tap. Inhale, reach back up towards the ceiling. Exhale and plant your left hand on the mat, placing your left foot behind your right hand for pigeon pose. Untuck your back toes, resting on your right thigh. Check in with your breath. Notice that there are options on the screen for modifications. You have the option to stay here, or you can lower down and rest your forehead on your hands. Focus on your breath. Bring your focus back to your breath. Deep inhales and deep exhales. Rise up and turn to a seated position with legs wide. Try to keep the backs of your knees glued to the mat and point your toes towards your shins. Shoulders are rolled down and back, away from your ears. Walk your hands forward and tilt at your hips for a seated wide leg forward fold. Keep breathing. You might notice with each exhale, you can lower down a little further. Walk your hands back up and bring the soles of your feet together for butterfly. push down your knees with your elbows for a greater groin stretch. Keeping your right leg bent, straighten your left leg and walk your hands down towards your foot. Inhale, and with every exhale, lower further down towards the mat. Inhale, walking your hands back up, this time straightening your right leg and placing your left foot on your thigh. Tilt at the hips and walk your hands down towards your foot, lowering down towards the mat with every exhale. Inhale, come back up and roll over your right shin for pigeon pose. Option to stay here or lower down to rest your forehead on your arms. Rise back up and press your hands into the mat, bringing your right foot to the outside of your right hand for world's greatest stretch. Inhale and touch your right elbow to the mat, then twist your torso and reach your right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale and tap your right elbow. Inhale, reaching back up to the ceiling. Exhale, twist and tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale and plant your hands on the mat, pressing your right heel behind you into three-legged dog. Try to keep your hips parallel to the floor and press your left heel into the mat. Exhale, lowering your leg down to the mat for downward facing dog. Notice the modifications on the screen. Inhale, raising your right leg again for three-legged dog, reaching your right heel back behind you. Inhale, looking between your hands, step your right foot forward. Press your thighs in towards each other for balance and reach up your hands to the ceiling for crescent lunge. Make sure your front knee is stacked directly over your ankle. Exhale, straightening your front leg and swan dive your hands to the ground into pyramid pose. Inhale, bend your right knee, transferring your weight to your front leg. Engage your core and reach your hands up towards the ceiling, back to crescent lunge. Exhale, straightening your front leg and planting your hands on the mat for pyramid pose. Inhale, bending your front knee over your ankle and reaching back up for crescent lunge. Exhale, straightening your knee and draping over your front leg. Inhale, reaching back up for crescent lunge. Exhale, dropping your arms to your sides and pivoting to the long end of your mat. Tuck your tailbone and point your toes out to the sides. Place your hands on your hips and lower down towards your mat into goddess pose, keeping your tailbone pointed down towards the floor. Exhale and bend over at your hips, straightening your legs and lowering your head down towards the mat. If a forward fold isn't an option for you, use your quads to rise back up to standing. Place your hands on your hips, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and raise your head back up, sinking your hips as if sitting on a chair for goddess pose. Exhale, straightening your legs and lowering your head down towards the mat for wide leg forward fold. Inhale, hands on hips, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and move back to goddess pose. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. Take a moment here to focus back in on your breath. Inhale, hands on hips, raising back up and sinking your hips to goddess pose. Pivot your toes to the left, stacking your knee over your ankle. Reach your arms up to the ceiling for crescent lunge. Exhale, straighten your front leg and float your hands down to the mat to bend over your leg for pyramid pose. Inhale, bend your front leg and reach up to the ceiling, lowering down into crescent lunge. Exhale, float back down to the mat for pyramid pose. Inhale, bend your front leg, reaching up for crescent lunge, making sure your front knee is stacked directly over your ankle. Exhale, float back down for pyramid pose. Inhale, bend your front leg and reach up to the ceiling back to crescent lunge. Exhale, keep your front knee bent and float your hands down to the mat into low lunge. Reach your left heel in a straight line behind you for three-legged dog. Take a breath here. Lower your leg down to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here, seeing if you can lower your heels down towards the mat a little further. Inhale, reaching your left heel back behind you for three-legged dog, keeping your core engaged, and push through the mat with your hands. Exhale, lowering your knees to the mat, untuck your toes, and reach your hands to the top of the mat for child's pose, ensuring your tailbone is tucked. Returning back to your breath, rest in child's pose with your arms overhead or by your sides. Feel the rise and fall of your back with each inhalation and exhalation. Carry this relaxed feeling with you for the rest of the day.